Well, hello everybody, and welcome on into another live stream here on the Jupiter Robotics channel. If I remember correctly, this is stream number 21. Thank you for joining. This is going to be a fun live stream. Let's get started. Hello everybody. If you're new here, my name is Jonathan. I'm one of the team co-captains from Team Jupiter Robotics, and I am so happy to see everybody here. Hello. Welcome on in. How's your day going? It's going pretty well. Thank you for asking, Sharp Scales Robotics. How's your day going? So, let's see. Well, hello. Yes. Thank you for joining. So, this is going to be an exciting live stream. I'm excited to get into it. So, tonight we're going to be chatting with an amazing community member of the combat robotics community. You know him, you love him. It is Peter from Repeat Robotics. He is joining us tonight. And OMG, is that Space Junk V2? That is. Oh, shoot. I better move. You didn't see that, Roughhouse. You didn't see that. No, I'm kidding. It's not Space Junk. It's not Space Junk 2.0. That's an old pushy chassis said. Yes, it is. It is. Team Combat Robotics actually gave me a stash of those. So, anyways, this robot was actually designed by Peter from Repeat Robotics, who we're chatting with today. That's why I have it on display, as well as a Repeat Robotics sticker, other merch, right there on my transmitter. I love that lanyard. Anyways, so before we begin, I do want to make a quick special announcement regarding one of our sponsors in particular. Of course, we have all of them named at the bottom of your screen. But one in particular, just want to say a big thank you to Polymaker, and of course, the rest of our sponsors, Senka10 and 48 Designs. Polymaker right now, they're doing their biggest giveaway of the year. They call it Polypalooza. And Polypalooza is back for 2026. They've partnered with over 30 companies to give away some big products, 3D printers, filaments, tech, computers, you name it. It is, the list goes on and on. So if you want to win some big 3D printing prizes, go head over to their website. I will share a link with you right now. There we go. All right. So that link should be working. Let me know if it does not work. I will try again if it doesn't. So click that link and get yourself entered into this year's Polymaker Palooza giveaway to win big 3D printing prizes. And as usual, thank you to all of our sponsors. We could not do all the things that we do without sponsors. It's blue. Okay, that means it's working. Nice. So it should be working. Yep, cool. All right. Well, thank you for letting me know. So, yes, that link will take you right to the giveaway page for the Polypalooza giveaway, hosted by Polymaker. It ends on June 19th, 2026. So you got 8 more days. It ends next Friday, and then shortly after that, I forgot the date exactly, but shortly after that, they will host a live stream announcing all of the winners. There's going to be lots of winners, lots of prizes. So that was not a paid advertisement. They sponsor us, so I just felt the need to promote that for them. So if you're into 3D printing, go check that out. All right. So right now, we're going to go ahead and bring in our special guest for the evening. So let's bring in the man who needs absolutely no introduction, but I'm still going to give him a short one anyway. Please welcome the man, the myth, the legend, the legendary, Repeat Robotics' very own, Peter. How are we?
I'm doing good. How about you guys?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for asking. So for anybody who may not recognize the name or the face, would you please introduce yourself to the world and tell us who you are and what you do?
Yeah, hey guys. My name is Peter Garnache. I'm the founder of Repeat Robotics. A while ago, back in 2022, I decided to make a batch order of some ant weight motors and put them up for sale, and that kind of snowballed into selling more and more and more different products. And so at this point, I think I have like 180 different products that you can buy that are all specially designed and developed for combat robotics. So I run that. I also fight robots of my own all across the world. I've competed in Korea and China, as well as all across the US. Um, I have it's a bunch of fun. I have way too many robots that I've built.
Oh, that is so relatable. uh, I have a handful of robots that I've made and haven't fought, plus the ones I've already fought maybe once or twice, and a bunch of CAD designs I probably never will do anything with. So, uh, so you started. You said you started with a batch of some motors. Would they happen to be these ant weight motors or a different kind?
They were the brushless predecessors to those.
Ah,
The Repeat Mini Mark One had it was
okay.
a 1106 motor with a 3D printed adapter plate to a gearbox, and I made a batch of 100 of those and sold some to some friends, and that was how I got started, selling robot parts.
That's an amazing start. And yeah, the Repeat Robotics has widely grown. It's a well-known name in the combat robotics community. So you really made a name for yourself with that. Uh, so amazing motors, amazing products that you make. Are there any new products that have just released or in the works that you may want to talk about and share with us?
Yeah, one of the things that I could talk about that I've posted about recently is our own version of ant weight wheels. So we've purchased or we've sent or sorry, we have available for sale now 1.75-inch flex wheels that are a TPE grip surface with an ABS injection molded center core, which is really cool to make because it's a bunch of tooling investment in having wheels. That's why there's not a lot of places that sell wheels, just because the upfront tooling cost is pretty significant. But being able to design something that and invest in the tooling and have that show up at your door is pretty cool. So those are pretty cool products. We've run two different versions of them. Now we have the one that we're selling, and we've run those on a handful of different robots with pretty good success so far. So they fit with the repeat screw hubs or the clamp hubs that we have, the little rounded square profile hubs. Those fit right into it. And the way that I've designed them, you can use the wheels either in a direct drive configuration where you're driving them off of one of those hubs, or you can print out a pulley out of PLA or nylon or whatever you want, or TPU, and use one of our repeat ant drive axles to get an indirect drive configuration. Right now we're working on a couple other sizes. Those are currently in beta testing. We have 1.25 and 1.5-inch wheels. And what's going to be really cool is when those show up in our live, we have pulleys that mate with any of those. So you can just download the pulley off of our website or off of GrabCAD and then print it out, bolt it onto the wheel, and get yourself a full 4-wheel drive robot with minimal effort in design time. The pulley tooth counts are designed in a way that you can run any two size wheels together and it just works. So that'll be really cool. And I think that it'll make having a 4-wheel drive system a lot easier, and it'll make it easier for people to have those kinds of robots.
That's awesome. So yeah, those I saw those on the website. Those are pretty neat little looking wheels. Um, we have a question here in the chat from Roughhouse Robotics. I noticed a plastic and weight kit category on the Repeat Robotics site. What does this mean?
Well, we're working on some starter level plastic ant weight kits. One of the things that we're trying to do this year is grow the sport. there's still a lot of people that, are potential builders out there. And so making it easier to get introduced and like get started is something that we're really trying to push. So we've been working on iterating and testing our own plastic ant weight kits. We recently had one of them compete at the TRC event that we hosted 2 weeks ago, I believe. And then we'll have a couple more compete in Texas at the end of the month. So hopefully those show up and become a competitive option for getting started.
That's awesome. So you mentioned TRC, the Texas Robot Combat, and is that something that you're heavily involved with, or something that you started?
Yeah, so when I moved to Texas in 2020 at the end of the year. There was, before I moved down here, Texas Robot Combat ran events in the DFW area, Dallas-Fort Worth area. But once I moved down here, it was right after COVID happened, and COVID kind of shut them down. They stopped hosting
Mm.
events. I messaged some of the event organizers a year or two later and said, "Hey, can I help, make events happen? I'd love to have robot fighting in Dallas." And we hosted our first event, I believe, in 2023 at the end of the year. And then 2024, 2025, 2026, we've hosted a good slew of events. And so I'm actually the president of Texas Robot Combat. So I
Ah,
got myself way off the deep end in terms of hosting robot events. So that's pretty fun. But yeah,
yeah, sounds like it.
it's a good time.
Oh yeah, sounds like a lot of fun for sure. Um, we have another question here in the chat. Speaking of Texas, what are your thoughts on Texas Roadhouse? Must ask because this is the Jupiter Robotics channel tradition to randomly talk about Texas Roadhouse.
My wife really likes Texas Roadhouse. I think it's okay. I don't know, it's pretty good. The rolls and the cinnamon butter or whatever they have is awesome. And like being able to get a steak for $16 with a side or two is a pretty good deal. So it's a good time.
Texas Roadhouse, we mentioned that on like every live stream. That's kind of been our running joke here on the channel for I don't even remember how long at this point. So really quick, just one last random question. Since that was mentioned, if you had to rate it 0 out of 10, what would you give it? Texas Roadhouse.
Probably like a 7.2.
Okay.
I think that's pretty reasonable. I think it's above average restaurants. There's a lot of, like, I would pick Texas Roadhouse over a lot of restaurants, but I think my wife would rate it higher than that. Some of like her family members. I don't know. It's just, it doesn't seem better than like good Mexican food to me. And we have a lot of good Mexican food in Texas, or like good barbecue.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Those are two other really good things.
Yeah.
Oh. So back to events, TRC stuff. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Oh, we got one more random question from Caden. Says, "Hey y'all, important question for both of y'all. How's the Texas Roadhouse rolls compared to Olive Garden breadsticks?" Oh,
You go first. You give me your thoughts.
This is going to be a controversial topic, and I'm going to give a controversial answer no matter what I say. If I had to pick, I'd probably go with Olive Garden breadsticks.
I
It
think
is
that I'm
close.
probably on the same trend. I like Italian food, just a little bit more than the other side of things. But so the garlic or the cinnamon butter that they have makes it way, way, way better. So the Olive Garden breadsticks are pretty good, but like they don't have a modifier like that. I don't know. I think
True.
I still go Olive Garden.
True. Now that's a good question.
Great question.
Derail this stream's topic immediately. You mean we went into this live stream with a topic in place? Is that not that I recall? Uh, well, back to the topic of robot events. Uh, all that TRC stuff, that sounds like a lot of fun for sure. And if anybody happens to be in the area, go check out those events. Um, what's a topic? So true. Uh, so Repeat Robotics is also a sponsor for some other events outside of Texas, such as the Robot Ruckus, which is a big event here in Florida. How many events would you say you annually sponsor?
Well, let's pull up a spreadsheet.
Oh, we have a spreadsheet.
Yeah, for 2026, we have 44 events on our sponsor spreadsheet going all the way up through September. And we should have,
Ooh.
a decent amount more than that jumping up. So a lot, quite a lot. I think we had 37 for all of last year. So having already 44 this year is a big step up. But I like to try
Wow.
and give back to the people that support me and the builders that have supported me in having this business and having things that exist like this. I wouldn't be able to run Repeat Robotics and provide all of this cool stuff without all of you guys who buy robot parts. So giving back to events as prizes and whatnot is important to the stuff that we do.
That's amazing, and quite a lot of events that you're sponsoring every year. Now, for your sponsorships that you do, is that limited to events, or do you sponsor more than just events, such as like individuals or teams?
We sponsor a bunch of events. If you have an event that you're going to run that's coming up soon, go to the bottom of the Repeat website. There's an event sponsorships tab. You can click that, fill out a form, and we'll reach out to you about your event. We do have sponsorships for a lot of educational teams. A lot of college
Okay.
teams don't have great funding, or high school teams don't have great funding. So being able to push better parts and higher quality things on builders who are stuck in educational experiences and don't really have the budget or the money in to build good robots is a nice thing that we're able to do. We also run Team Repeat, which is a sponsorship program where we have basically a hand selected group of builders that fight robots at the highest level and use Repeat products and show it while they're doing it. So we have those guys. If you watch our Instagram, there's a lot of Instagram content sharing Team Repeat progress as they fight all across the world.
That's awesome to hear. Uh, let's see. Our friend Nick from Sharp Scales Robotics says, "You have my attention." You mentioned sponsoring college teams. This would be a student at the Florida Polytechnic University here in Lakeland, Florida. They have an amazing group there, the Purple Fire Robotics. Let's see. I've seen the plant hardware kit. Does the hardware's weapon support screws designed for a hub motor drum style. So instead of running a shaft through it, it's designed rather to have a screw to
Yeah,
support the
so
other side.
the screw kit that I set up there was intended to try and support as many styles of robot as possible. So it has two different types of double support methods for your weapon. If you have a short weapon like a wide or a thinner vertical spinner weapon or a horizontal spinner weapon, it has a needle bearing that you can embed with a shaft, or you can just kind of stick the shaft through to double support it. That's what we've done on our verts before, and it works great. And then if you're trying to do a drum type of a weapon or a wider weapon where the shaft doesn't stick all the way through, we have a ball bearing and a big, I believe it's an M5 screw and lock nut. And the intent is that you embed the lock nut into the frame rail, put the screw through it, and that'll kind of hold the shaft sticking out of the frame rail. Then you put the bearing in the drum, and you have a double support setup on your drum weapon to support the far side, and then the other side would just be pressed on or screwed onto the motor.
Good to know. Drumbotics kits run a screw on the other side to support the other side for the hub motor.
Yeah, so it'd be similar to that setup. I don't know exactly the design, but the intent is to have the head of the screw on the outside of your frame rail, a lock nut on the inside of your frame rail, and then a ball bearing inside your drum.
Good stuff. That is awesome. Was actually really worried about having weapon ejection issues, but now I feel a little bit more confident.
Yeah, weapon ejecting issues all comes down to how stiff your frame rails are and whether you have like a layer line break on those. So printing separate frame rails perpendicular or kind of on their flat side is very helpful to keep the weapon in. And then simplifying the design and making sure that you have adequate structure holding everything together is also imperative when you're designing that type of a setup.
Good stuff. We love UH&W rails.
Yeah, you gotta love floppy plastic holding all your robot together.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But the Plantway hardware kits also come with a variety of different screws that you can use for fastening forks or other attachments. It comes with nuts if you want to through bolt your chassis. It comes with O-rings that can be used for a four-wheel drive setup if that's what you fancy. So there's a bunch of different options that you can go with.
Love to have all the different options for sure. Now, if you really wanted to have floppy plastic holding all of your robot parts together, just print TPU very thin.
Exactly.
So a lot of good stuff so far, and your website has been mentioned a few times. So I'm going to go ahead and share the link with our live chat for your official Repeat Robotics website. So let's go ahead and share the link, and this should work. I'm sure somebody in the live chat can let me know if that link doesn't work, but I'm sure it will. So that link will take you to the official Repeat Robotics website, where you can take a look at all the amazing products made and sold by Repeat. Let's see. Kind of worried me since I was designing a swoop-inspired plastic ant-weight robot. You fought him with Scalar X at the TNRL and MRCA event, right?
Yeah, I've seen Swoop before. I wasn't actually at that event. I had a friend running Scalar X for me. It had fought at the TNRL event at some point in time, and then Jason and Jenna reached out to me and were like, "Hey, you qualified for the finals for the TNRL. Do you wanna show up?" And I was like, I'm not free that weekend, but I have a friend that's going, so I ended up sending the robot with him. And he was able to do those fights. But I've seen Swoop before. Yeah, it has a really big drum, so it should be something.
Nice.
It should be capable of something like that. It has an M5 alloy steel screw is pretty good.
Good to know. It works. All right. Thank you, Nick, for letting me know. All right. So yes, the link works. So go check out the Repeat Robotics website. A lot of amazing products. I actually just happened to purchase a couple of recent products through Palm Beach Bots recently. So you can never have enough Repeat products, especially motors.
Exactly.
I happen to have a few over here. That the motors you see over here, that's just a few of them that I have. I think one of them broke. Not this one. I don't know. The shaft broke on one of them. But I had one fight that happened at the Orlando Maker Fair last year where I don't know how this happened. It was a robot that I fought had exposed wheels. That was mistake number one. My opponent actually hit my wheels both wheels that I had. Somehow the wheel and the hub on both sides took no damage whatsoever, but both of the drive motors lost their shaft from like
Darn.
right here. Like, how do you pull that? How do you break the shaft like that without breaking the wheel and the hub? That was two crazy shots because it was one at a time. uh, all my winning commission bots are loaded with repeat. Hashtag sponsor me, please. uh, that's funny.
We appreciate it, Caden. Thank you.
Well, all of my robots are loaded with repeat products, so hashtag sponsor me too, please.
Appreciate it as well.
So a lot of fun stuff for sure. So the TRC events, just going back to that for a minute, I'm just generally curious. How big are those events? How many robots and arenas do you generally have for each event?
So we run 2 8x8 arenas, ants, plants,
Okay.
and beetles. The last event, we had about 120 robots registered, but once people dropped out, I think we ended up with 85 competing robots. So on the larger sides of things, we've had builders fly out from all sorts of different places to compete at TRC events. The last December event that we had a ton of people traveling to come fight. We had builders from Brazil, from the team behind Minotaur, competing as well, which was really fun to have. So they're usually a good
Awesome.
time, big group of people. We're happy to have people fly out and try them out. The location that we're at is pretty close to the major Dallas airport, so it makes travel easy.
I'm sure you probably hear a lot of airplanes during events, right? If it's close enough.
Not really inside, but
Okay.
yeah, if you're on the outside, you can see them and hear them.
I would be pretty impressed with seeing how much the beetle weight robots have evolved, especially in states like Florida and at NHRL events like that. Just seeing how crazy good people are making their beetles and how loud they can get. I would be
Mhm.
pretty surprised if you could host an event close to an airport and hear an airplane loud enough that you can't hear the beetles.
Exactly. I don't think that's possible unless you're, outside on the runway.
Now, if it's louder than the announcer, I could maybe see that. But considering how loud Beatles can get, I announce for Beatles all the time and have to yell, and I still can't hear myself.
Hmm.
So uh, I've heard that the Repeat 2822 doesn't fit well with the FingerTech Viper drum kit. What's different with it? That's a good question.
I don't know, man. I haven't put together a FingerTech Viper drum kit, so there's a chance that the outer diameter is a little bit different, which could cause some trouble. With the Repeat 2822, we completely redesigned the motor structure to try and improve the strength that it has and make it easier to use and more versatile in mounting. So with a new V3 that we have, it has a custom flanged shaft to make sure that you don't see any failures where the shaft comes out. The shaft is retained with an end tap screw instead of a C-clip because the C-clips holding them on are super tiny and inadequate. The bolting holes to bolt your weapon on are either M3 or number 632. So, absolutely massive screws compared to a number 2 size or the M2 size that comes stock on those motors. Our motor's also a little bit flatter, which we're able to do because of custom shaft geometry that holds the motor can together. It also has double supported magnets, so they're more durable overall. So there's a lot of differences that, from the stock 2822s that I put into to try and make the repeat ones as durable as possible. And any one of those might be some sort of trouble with other parts that other people sell. I haven't tried it myself, so I couldn't tell you what the issue is.
Yeah, durability is key in combat robotics.
Oh, for sure.
If you've ever seen a robot fight before, I think you know why. Um, on the other hand, I have built Viper Drum, which this one has been the main robot on the Team Jupiter Robotics roster for quite a while. We ran this thing for about 3 years, and we finally decided it just cannot compete with the modern day ant weights because they're evolving pretty fast. The sport evolves very fast. It only nowadays it's really only doing well against fellow Viper kits. Uh, that's actually where we got our second place trophy here in the back. Was against a bunch of Vipers and what we call Antweight Gladiators here in Florida, which is mostly Vipers. So yeah, we've retired that version of Space Junk. No more Viper kit, and we've teased about Space Junk 2.0 coming in the future. I'm still going to tell you it's soon, so don't bother asking me, Roughhouse Robotics. Speaking of, also, you need to get Ian to run Pipeline Punch in Florida somehow. I want to see that bot in Florida so bad.
Ian's moving to Texas next month, so it's totally possible. I'd like to come out to one of the Florida events that you guys have. I've been to Robot Ruckus a couple of times. I'd love to come out again for that one. I'm also interested in all these events that allow flame at small weight classes because I like flamethrowers. Sorry, you can't call them flamethrowers. I like flame effect device robots. Those are pretty cool. So once I have a flame effect device beetle, then that would be fun to bring down to one of those Florida events.
I wonder if is YouTube even picky about that particular word? I am.
I don't know. I don't have any YouTube experience, so.
I'll call them a burn bot because that's what they do.
Yeah,
they burn their bot. Yep. We'll call them burn bot just for the sake of YouTube. We actually have an event coming up in 2 days. It's this Saturday in Stuart, Florida, that allows burn bots. There's going to be a couple of beetles with burning weapons. I probably can't say weapons either, but
I feel like that happens a lot when we're talking about combat robots. Yeah, it'd be fun to come out to one of those events with a proper flame robot. So we'll see. I still have development to do.
Yeah, we actually had an event that allowed them earlier in this year. It was my first time ever seeing them in person. It was hot. We had like one robot that had fire. It was hot. I recorded a couple of its fights, but now we got 2 of them for this weekend. It's gonna be fun. I won't be at the event, but I'm sure a lot of people will have fun with that, getting their batteries cooked.
Oh yeah.
Any plans to bring Knuckle Sandwich or Repeater to NHRL this year? Heard there were some plans for Texas to run around September.
Yeah, so a lot of the Texans are heading up, I believe, in October. So I'll be going up with them. I don't have Knuckle Sandwich or Repeater registered. Knuckle Sandwich, the last time I tried to run it at Robot Ruckus and then a weekend later in China, was having some gremlins. It didn't want to spin up, and I've been unable to solve them. I also haven't, spent a ton of time trying to fix them. So I think it needs just a ground up rebuild, new wiring setup. So I haven't really had a reason to bring it. NHRL events are just so hard to try and compete in the Beatles with because there's so many good robots. It's just kind of a coin flip whether you win any given fight or not. So it's hard to plan to make a trip for just a Beetle that you never know if you'll go 0-2 or all the way to the finals with. So I don't think that we're going to bring Repeater back. I think that we have a pretty solid legacy with it, getting first and third at World Champs back to back. I worry if we bring it back to a single qualifying event and we finish top 32. That's just not as good of a final looking point as we would have otherwise. So it just doesn't seem worth going to opens hoping to qualify at NHRL. It just is so challenging to get top 4.
Oh yeah, NHL looks like a very tough competition for sure. Um, only had time to pop in. Hope you all have a good stream. Well, thank you for joining.
Thank you, Caden.
Happy to have you. I'd imagine it's one of those, and I've done this before. So don't ask how I know, but you bring, it's either one of two things. You bring a lot of spares, but don't use them because you only have 2 fights. Or you have a lot of fights, you go all the way or almost all the way, and you just run out of spares at the end of it. I've been there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a mix. Those are certainly ways that you can go out at NHRL.
Yeah.
So it's just a long day and a lot of fights, and they're really hard fights. Once you get by your through your qualifying rounds, it's just banger after banger. So it's just hard to go and commit all of the money to going expecting yourself to do so well and make it to the top 4 and qualify. That's just, for people who have to travel as far as I do, it just doesn't make sense to do that over and over again. I did that last year, and I went there like almost every event that they had. I think I missed 2 events last year, and that's just expensive. It hits the wallet hard.
Oh yeah, for sure. Will Pipeline Punch still be fighting in MRCA events? I tried to say that too fast.
I don't know. I don't think he'll be a regular in the Midwest once he lives in Texas and he's based around Texas, but I'm sure that he's qualified himself to go for their championship a 3rd time. There's nobody else that is going to take 3 MRCA championships anytime soon. So I think Pipeline has the best chance at anybody.
Weekday Warrior says NHRL Beatles is a gauntlet.
For sure.
Oh yeah, sure
it's a
seems
very
like
long
it.
day, and every turn you get a top tier robot.
Oh yeah, for sure. NHRL has evolved a lot. So yeah, a lot of fun stuff for sure. So NHRL sounds like a lot of fun, hectic but fun. The Texas Robot Combat, that sounds like a lot of fun. And thank you for sharing all that information with us, all your stories. And I'm kind of curious now that we've kind of talked about like where you're at as of currently and how you've been helping out the sport over the last few years. You mentioned you want to help support the people that helped you in the beginning. So I just want to touch briefly on your actual beginning. How did you get started in combat robotics? How did you get into it?
Man, so back when I was a high schooler, I did some FRC and some FTC, educational cooperative robotics. Had a good time with that, learned a bunch of stuff. When I was looking at colleges, I found Rose-Hulman, which is a tiny engineering college in Indiana, and it was pretty much perfect, in terms of distance away from home. And so that was great. They had a combat robotics team. So when I moved in as a freshman, I joined the combat team, started designing my first robot. Never went to competition, kind of didn't really even get to build it that first year. But the second year that we did stuff, I took more ownership of the club, and I started steering them in the direction that I thought would grow them. And we actually built a couple beetle weights. We took 3 beetle weights to a competition, which was the first competition in the team, or in like 3 or 4 years for the team. And I was able to place second with the beetle that I had worked on a team to build. And then the next year we went in and built even more bots. I think we had 6 or 7 robots that were going to be ready for a competition. And then COVID hit and everything kind of shut down there. So that was really the start to my robotics journey, was through Rose-Hulman Combat. And then from there, I moved to Ohio, had a couple of robot fights at a small league in Canton at a makerspace. And then I drove down and fought once in Alabama at one of the Huntsville robot events. That was pretty fun. And then moved to Texas, met a couple friends that were, getting started in combat around the same time that I was, and we started fighting. Pardon me. We started fighting more and more and more all over different places. So that's kind of the beginning of everything.
That's awesome. Love to hear the backstory for sure. So you've been in the game for quite a while now. It
Yeah,
seems
my
like.
first competition was 2019 at the beginning of the year, and then I really started fighting my own robots in 2020. But I had 16 fights in 2020, so I don't know how much you count that as
Nice.
a year or not.
The first year that I ever competed in, I only got 7 fights if you include grudges. So yeah, you had a great start to the sport. Did you start with a kit as your first bot or custom design?
No, I made so my first homemade robot was a four-wheel drive vertical spinner. And I went two and two with it, and I lost to a wedge robot. So what did I
Ooh.
do? But I built a billet aluminum wedge robot that I then went and swept the competition with and won. And those were the two fights that I had, two events that I had in Canton, Ohio. Then I went down to Huntsville with a robot that was designed based on Robert Cohen's Low Man, but instead of a beetle weight, it was an ant weight version. So it was like a billet UHMW wedge with a bunch of N20s driving little tiny wheels. I think the wheels were 21 millimeter Lego wheels, and so the entire robot was thinner than that. It was a super thin robot. So that was a good time. And then the first Texas robot that I built was a four-wheel drive Drisk called Ablation. That is the base of the Peter Bar kit and the whole Peter Bar archetype, basically.
So since you bring up ablation, I'm sure I have something here that might look just a little bit familiar.
Yeah, there you go. That was the OG.
Oh yeah. So I I remember the first time I ever that didn't stay. I'll just put it there. The first time I ever competed, we got a train coming through. I'm being interrupted. So the first time I ever competed at the Orlando Maker Fair that we have here, that was in 2023. It was our first. It was our second competition ever, and I got excited to hear that you were going to be participating as well that year
Mhm.
in 23, and so I wanted to. I do this. I tend to do this where I see the people that are going that I've never met before, and I think they're really cool people and make great bots, and I want to go talk to them. That was the case when I found out you were attending, so I wanted to make it a priority, and you were like at the end of our column. That was quite a few years ago. I don't know if you remember, but
Mhm.
they had like 6 30-inch by 6 foot folding tables put together in a column, and you're on the other end of the column from my table. I remember when I had a minute, I walked over to your table. Uh, I didn't want to interrupt because it looked like you were doing something. I walked over there, didn't really say a word or two, and I remember. Here, do you want a poker chip? Here, do you want a sticker? You want a lanyard? And so that's how I got the lanyard, the poker chip, the sticker.
Nice.
I had it right there. I don't remember where I put it now, but uh, so yeah, I love to. I just really appreciate to see all of the amazing love and support from amazing builders like yourself in the community. Um, and it doesn't have to be with like giving like that, um, but to see amazing, caring uh, members of uh, world of robotics. Uh, I love to see that. It's good sportsmanship. I like to see that.
Yeah, we're
Uh,
lucky in the sport that we have so many, nice
yeah,
people and friendly and helpful people.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, you have people that uh, if they know that they're gonna fight you in their next fight, but they're struggling. Like basically, if somebody knows they're fighting you in their next fight, they see you struggling to get ready for the fight, they'll help you get ready for your fight, and they won't stop until you can make it to the arena, even if it costs them the fight. And that's how it should be,
Yeah, I've
I
been in
think.
that situation myself a bunch of times. I've helped
Yeah,
people get into the arena, make sure that their robot works the way that it need to. A good fight is more
yeah,
fun than a one-sided fight.
for sure. Um, Space Junk never would have won that trophy over there if it wasn't for amazing community members like that. So that's really what it's all about. Um, it's all about just the people coming together and helping each other out, showing good sportsmanship, and the expensive carnage is just a bonus. And it can get expensive.
Hmm.
So, uh, back to the repeat in specific, you have um, some really solid looking kits that you make. You mentioned the Peter Bar kit just a little bit ago. There's also the Ant Weight, the Scalar kit, and you have a series of new kits as well. Is there anything particular you want to mention with those?
Yeah, so the first strike combat robots are designed to be an entry point into combat robots. As it is right now, there's a lot of, I mean, building your first robot, even if you go with some of the kits off the shelf, there's a lot of soldering and tribal knowledge you need to know to get, a radio system to work. So, and most of the spinner options just aren't safe without building a test box, which isn't the first thing that people care about. So the first strike combat robots are designed to be safe without a test box, and easy to assemble. There's really detailed instruction guides that come with each kit, paper instruction guides that you can flip through and step by step go through. They have a bunch of extra screws so that if you lose one, it's not the end of the world. And they just go together super simply. They also feature a custom designed injection molded kind of robot core that has both drive motors and gearboxes inside, as well as all of the electronics to run the bot. So your electrical system turns into a lithium ion battery, the core module, and then a servo that plugs into it. So the electronics are really completely plug and play and super simple to put together. And they come with a remote too, and they are only $100. So most of the other most of the time, if you're trying to build a robot kit and you have to get a transmitter and whatnot with it, you're close to $250, even for the cheapest entry level things. So having a first strike come out at $100 makes it way easier to have a robot that exists that you can practice driving on, and you can play with. And they're a ton of fun to play with.
For sure. And I like that you have that variety with your kits. You have uh, your kits for 1 pound and 3 pounds that are for builders who are a little more advanced. And now you also have the first strike kits that are aimed towards, they're more aimed more towards beginners, like they're beginner friendly, budget friendly. Uh, that's a big plus with that. They look pretty cool looking, and they weigh half a pound.
It's a little over a half a pound.
Okay.
They're aimed at 260 grams. They're not meant to fight in any particular U.S. weight class. They're more
Right.
for playing with at home, and kind of just getting started, getting and trying things out and testing.
Yeah, for sure. So is there isn't really a class for those robots, but is there any? plans for the future with any TRC or anybody? That is there going to be a specific class just for robots of that weight or those kits?
I mean, I'd love to see enough of those robots around that, you have the ability to open up a weight class for them, but that'll depend on how many people show up and, where they go, and, how many they show up in different places. So I would love to see
For
that in the future. That would be really cool. I think that it's a great entry into the sport, and I think having them at events, even if they aren't competing in events, I think that that is a great way to get more people into the sport. Building your first bot is just a whole lot of trouble, and not having to go through all of that with something like a first strike kit, something that makes it easy. It makes their life easy, and it's very simple to just say, buy this, open the box, here's the instructions, here's everything you need, including tools to put your robot together. Go for it.
For sure. So, question: what is used in the first strike kit's electronics, like motor wise?
So the core module uses two N20 size motors with custom single state or custom spur gear reductions. So it's all metal gears, or it's metal spur gears driven by an N20 size motor.
Impressive. Let's see. The scalar kit, aka Mr. Breeze kit for Floridians, is a full combat death defier kit. Oh boy.
Yeah, I remember when the scalar first released, there were a lot of bots down in Florida that
Oh yeah.
got trashed by scalers. There were a lot of scalers
Oh
on
yeah.
the podiums. I think there was like a year where any given event in Florida had 1 to 2 scalers on the podium.
It had to have been at least a year and a half, probably 2 years, something like that.
Mhm.
They were around for a good while. But yeah, Mr. Breeze is one of the most well-known scalar kits in Florida. I might have fought him like 3 times, and he's the only one that's ever completely ripped my weapon completely off the robe.
Nice.
That hurt. And then Death to Fire that was mentioned in that comment is my plastic ant
Gotcha.
replica of. Do I have it? I don't have it anyway. It's my plastic ant replica of Tombstone. Mr. Breeze was fear itself for a... Yep, that is true. Everybody was I think everybody was scared when they found out they were fighting any scalar, but Mr. Breeze in particular.
Mhm.
It is a very solid kit. And then I also noticed some builders that had scalars were using a TPU frame that had wheel guards incorporated. Is that part of the kit, or?
No, buying the kit comes with the full 3D model, and I like, when I design kits, I try not to make them, full max weight, max, development. I like to give the builders something that can win fights if used correctly, but is a starting platform for them to build off of and make changes. So with the scalar, you could do changes on the weapon shape. Those designed to be able to fit multiple AR thicknesses, so you could change some stuff there. There was weight that you could reallocate to add wheel guards or switch to rubber wheels. I've heard of people doing both of those options. I've also heard of a couple of people that make or that have done brushless setups. So all of those are possibilities.
For sure. We have another question here in the chat. Any plans on making more durable wheels on the scalars, kind of like a package option to have Chainsaw Kitty type wheels?
Yeah, so the scalers right now just run standard foam wheels. I don't really have any plans to change that. It's helpful for weight, and they do take hits and take chunks out rather than fully destroying themselves. But I mean, they have that metal hub in them that, is a great way to transfer shock directly to the motors. The rubber wheels that we came out with the clamp hubs are the same size as the scalar wheels, so they should just drop right in on a scalar. So that's totally something that you could throw on there if you'd like. Um, in terms of like a custom cast rubber wheel, there's an open source model for one of those that I posted on I think the MRCA Discord way long ago. So if you want to get into wheel casting, you can do that yourself and learn a new skill. But it doesn't really make sense to do those upgrades to the kit as is. I'd rather have builders buy a kit, try it, learn what fails, and then try and figure out what they can do to the kit to mitigate those failures and prevent that from happening.
Yeah, it's all about trial and error, and that's how the combat robots evolve,
Mm-hmm.
and they evolve fast. For some, it takes one event to learn what went right, what went wrong. For others, it may only take one hit.
Yeah.
uh, for sure. Uh, so yeah, a lot of really cool stuff there. Lots of solid kits that you make. They look really cool. Uh, the scalers and Peter bars they're feared. Those are some feared robots. And then now we have the first strike kits. Uh, those are really good kits for beginners. So for anybody wanting to get into combat robots, definitely a good place to start is with a beginner's level kit like the first strike uh, kits from Repeat.
Yeah, the first strike robots themselves are super easy and straightforward to put together. I'm really happy with how they turned out in terms of like instructions and assembly order.
And those don't require like any soldering or any complicated stuff like that.
No, no soldering. It's all plug and play, and the kit comes with everything you need to build your robots. So you don't have to like buy any screws or screwdrivers or
Nice.
anything else. You literally could start with, in a room with nothing, and a first strike kit, and you could get one put together and running.
That's awesome. Also, what's the ant belt drive motors design changes? Like specifically, what makes them based for belt drive? Seeing that, I was really confused on that.
Let me pull it up so I can look at it. So the Ant belt drive motor is designed to be a motor for scalers. We've used a couple of different off-the-shelf motors in the past, but this one was purpose-built for scalers. We went, or I mean, it works fine for verts or other types of robots as well. We designed it to be as flat as possible. A lot of motors are designed to put on drones where they don't care as much about the Z height. They care more about the rotor inertia. So you get the belt drive motor fits into places where other motors may not fit. It has a flat top for our belt drive weapon motor pulley to mount onto. It has a flat built into the shaft for set screws for that pulley, as well as a threaded shaft that you can put a lock nut on to hold your pulley on 2 times. The design of the motor can is very simple in case you wanted to 3D print your own pulley and bolt it in and key it in. So that I think that's most of the options. It's overall just a lightweight motor that works really well in a belt-driven system.
Good to know. Uh, weren't the scalers running a different brand motor?
Yeah, so when I first made the scalers, um, part of the backstory on the scalers is there was a flash sale at Emax and they sold a bunch of motors for really cheap. And so I bought like
Ooh.
100 motors or 70 motors or something from them. And then I was like, let's design a horizontal around this. So I ran those motors for a little bit. What do you know? Those motors got discontinued. So then I switched. Those were the Emax RS 2205s or the 2205S red bottom
Oh yeah.
motors, which were, a top tier motor. So then I switched to a Sunny Sky motor that I was able to source. And what do you know? They got discontinued. So I got fed up
Wow.
with the motors that I was designing my product around being discontinued by other manufacturers. So I decided to become the manufacturer for the scalar motors. When I first made scalers, I thought maybe I'd sell 10 of them. I didn't think that they were going to be as widespread as they actually ended up being. So there was not the demand to make a custom motor based around it. But over time, they showed, a pretty solid, consistent demand for scalar robots. So I ended up being able to make my own design motor for those guys.
Good stuff. So, yeah, lots of uh, amazing motors that you make, and that's definitely a good move to avoid any more discontinued products in the future.
Yeah.
Uh, that's always been my biggest fear as well. I heavily rely on this brand of products. What happens if they go out of business or discontinue the product? That's always one of my biggest fears. Uh, anyway, so good stuff, and love to hear all about the durability of your motors, and you really know how to put them to the test. Just put them in a Beetle, throw it at NHRL, see if it survives.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, that's a very great durability test. Is throw it in a large event like that. Some scary beetles or ants if they're ant motors, of course. Uh, Now, a vast majority of your products are for ants and beetles. There's also a few products for bigger bots and for fairy weights. Is there any possible plans in the future for continuing products for fairies or bigger bots?
Yeah, as those classes grow and change over time, I'm always looking at what possibilities there are in, any different area, anywhere that I can try and make things more accessible for builders. So if there's something that a lot of builders have been doing, that's a lot of work or a lot of custom stuff. Like back in the
Yeah,
day when people were designing off the custom hub motors and doing all the machining themselves, being able
ooh,
to offer that to the standard builder who doesn't have all of that equipment is something that
right.
I really try to do. So I'm always looking through different weight classes to see what opportunities present themselves. It's just there's so many more ants and beetles that fight than there are fairies or 12s or 30s that it is hard to justify making products and putting in the development time and money on products designed for those larger weight classes just because there's not enough robots to
Yeah,
have those parts and products.
yeah, for sure. A lot of people that get into combat robotics, they mostly stick with like 1 pound and 3 pound robots. Because when you get to a class like the smaller fairy weights, which is like a third of a pound, they're really small. And a lot of people, they say, oh, I don't like messing with wires in a confined space like that.
Hmm.
Um, and then you get to the bigger bots, that means bigger budget. And so that's kind of the reason why we don't see more of the bigger ones.
Yeah, there's also
Uh,
just not many robots out there, or sorry, there's not many events that
yeah,
are, that have stuff for those
for
bigger
sure.
weight classes.
And it's kind of the same thing with the events too. Is not only finding a big enough venue that allows you to do big bot battles, it's also once you can get that, you also need a bigger budget for a bigger arena.
Hmm.
And some event organizers may not have that kind of a budget or facility, depending on their venue.
Yeah, big bot arenas are very expensive.
Yeah. So there's a lot to consider with that, and that kind of plays a big factor as to why we don't see bigger bots fighting a lot.
Mhm.
They've definitely taken a break here in Florida for a good few years. Uh, question: what are your opinions on the UK Beetle Frenzy? It uses the largest Beetle motors from Repeat and is 13 pounds with magnets. Wow. Really interested on what you think of such weight on Beetle motors.
So I'm not familiar with the UK Beetle Frenzy, but using the Repeat Pro 2207s on 13 pounds of magnets sounds like light work. Lynx back in the day ran close to 30 pounds of magnets and used smaller drive motors than the 2207 Repeat Pros. So I would expect them to handle more magnets than you could reasonably put on a robot. When we were doing some testing with the original Repeat Maxes, I had a guy in Ohio do some testing, and I believe he ran Repeat Maxes on a test bed up to about 40 pounds before he found them struggling. And that was with the Repeat Maxes, not the Pro 2207s. So I would expect the Pro 2207s to be a level or two above that. So as long as you have the battery to sustain it, and your drivetrain is, properly engineered, I think that you would be fine with a stupid amount of magnets with those motors. That being
Impressive.
said, the first like
Sorry,
3
what,
to
30
6 pounds of
pounds?
magnets does way more than the last 3 to 6 pounds of magnet force that you put on your robots. So it may not be smart to have a robot that has 30 pounds of downforce, but it's totally reasonable.
Oh, yeah. Uh, another question here. How many hits would you say, Peter, would the ferry motor survive on a hammer saw bot with an arm being swung by the compact beetle motor? This being for an ant.
I would say as many hits as it takes for someone to hit the motor itself. I think that a couple of other builders have done that setup, and as long as it's not being fed directly into opponent's weapon, I think that it should hold up fine. Um, I think a larger 20, like the weight savings from running the Ferry 2004 versus a larger like 2205, 2306 drone motor isn't really that much. And so it might just make sense to run a larger shaft drone motor if you can find yourself a titanium shaft motor. But I think the ferry motor would survive just fine, as long as it's not getting fed into opponents' weapons.
Good to know I got plans for 2027.
I'm excited to see them.
Oh, yeah. That's going to be fun to watch that for sure. That's going to be one scary hammer saw, perhaps.
Could be. Hammer
So,
saws
yeah.
are coming. They're becoming
Oh,
more
yeah.
meta.
Oh, yeah. Jonathan knows all about it. Yes, I do. I've seen it. Oh, for sure. Uh, let's see. So yeah, a lot of good stuff for sure. Well, I definitely want to say thank you for taking the time to join me on this live stream and just talk robotics, talk motors, events, everything we've talked about. It's been amazing. And is there anything else that you wanted to talk about? Any subject we should discuss before we head out?
Not anything I can think of off the top of my head. We covered a couple of the new things that have come out recently. Talked about Texas Robot Combat and robot fights,
And
and
Roadhouse.
and Texas Roadhouse. We did address that. So that sums up just about
Uh,
everything.
let's see. Are we getting a Peter visitation at Ruckus this year, or still a semi-annual affair?
I've been to every other ruckus since I started fighting robots. I was there in 2021, 2023, and 2025. I'd love to come this year. It'll kind of depend on what weekend that it falls on and, the actual logistics of getting out there and fighting. So I'd love to be down there. Robot Ruckus is always a great time. I love big events. I love seeing everybody. down in Florida. And we had a great time
For
last
sure.
time when we went out. So I'm hoping that I'm able to make it out again.
Yeah, so it's November 7th and 8th this year.
Gotcha.
Registration opens at the end of August.
Okay, so I got a couple of months. I got to figure out competitive robots. I don't have competitive robots right now. All of my robots are put away in bins.
Oh, man. Oh, and then there's also the rule that's been applied to Ruckus and all of the events hosted by Palm Beach Bots. It's an active weapons required rule, similar to NHRL, where each robot has to
Yay.
have an active weapon. So no more of this, little guy, unfortunately.
Yep.
Uh,
Well, Robot Ruckus has decided to fall on the same weekend as EDC for yet another year. So
ooh,
that destroys all of the hotels in the area. So we'll see if I can find a hotel that, makes sense and a flight that makes sense. But the same weekend as EDC just makes it so much harder.
yeah, for sure. So it sounds like for now we're sticking with the unplanned, unintentional, every other year trip.
I don't, that's very planned and intentional. But I'd like to make it out this year if it makes sense.
Uh, yeah, for sure. Well, hope to see you there. Um, I'm sure we'll see you perhaps next year, if not this year.
Hmm.
Um,
Like I said, I'd also like to make it out to one of these Florida events that allow flame robots. I think that'd be pretty fun.
yeah, for sure. We have one in a couple of days, and then the next one after that that I know of at the moment is the middle of March, 2027.
Very reasonable.
So yeah, we got plenty of time to plan for that one.
Yeah, start preparing and buying your flame tape.
Yes, get a lot of it. Oh, for sure. So, do we have any more questions from our live viewers here in the chat? I definitely want to thank everybody that's tuned in and for watching this, supporting the channel, and asking away with all of your questions and throwing in your comments. These live streams definitely would not have continued without amazing supporters like you guys. So if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel and share with a friend. I do have to wait like 20 seconds after asking y'all a question because of the YouTube delay. So do we have any final questions from live viewers? Let the 20 to 30-second delay begin. So yeah, man, that's a lot of fun stuff that we've covered. A lot of really amazing stuff. Of course, with the robots and future plans. I think we've pretty much covered everything. So I want to say a big thank you to Peter. Thank you for joining this live stream. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was a great time.
Quick, make an unsupervised decisions joke to fill the live stream. Unsupervised decisions is a robot made by a friend, Sharp Scales Robotics here, who says that bot is on the shelf for the meantime. It is a back scratcher for now. That thing is so long. It's well suited to be a back scratcher.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Which ant of yours, Peter, is the most destructive nowadays? That's a good question.
I don't know about destructive, but the most competitive ant continues to be agitation. I haven't brought it to too many events, but I sold a copy of it to um, a promising child driver that we had in Texas, and he has won most of the events in Texas since I did that with his robot. So let me just pull it up and just look at a couple of these. Let's see. So I sold it. His first fights were in 2024. He got third place, and then that was a third place losing to me, and then he got first place, and then in 2025, he got a first place, a ninth place, a fourth place, a first place, a ninth place, a fourth place. That's pretty cool. And then 2026, he got a fifth, And then first. So he's been pretty good with that robot. So I think agitation is the way to go. It's wide vert. It's very try hard. So that's kind of why I stopped running it. Is it wasn't as fun as other things could be. If I put it back together at some point and we're at the same event, I'd love to fight anybody who wants to have a grudge against it. So in terms of most
and Viper King
destructive,
fight it.
it could be Scalar X. I barely ever got to run it. I sent it
yeah.
off with a bunch of friends, but it was 1.5 pounds of Scalar. So if you think the Scalars are scary, I doubled the weapon weight, and then I doubled I had 30% more weapon speed, and then double battery capacity, so I could run at full speed the whole match, and it was really silly.
That's awesome. And that was back when ant weights could get an extra half a pound for shufflers. That's when the
Yeah,
weight bonus was 50%. Now it's
because it was
reduced.
stupid, and I thought that it was
Yeah.
stupid, so I was like, let me just build a robot to prove that you shouldn't do this.
Yeah, and you were successful because the Spark rules eventually they reduced it down. I think in
They changed them the next
2024.
year, so they changed it
Yeah,
to 1/4 pound, and that was great. That was great
yeah,
speeds.
yeah. So the weight bonus for Shuffler specifically is now 25%. I think everything was reduced by 25%, if I remember correctly. And then the plan was that they did that for about a year, and then rumor had it they were going to just get rid of it for Shufflers entirely, and that still has not been the case so far.
Yeah, I don't think shufflers have been quite as dominant with a 1/4 or 25% weight bonus. So I think it'll stay
Yeah.
like that for a little bit.
So do you think they should still keep that little bit of a weight bonus, or should they just go ahead and get rid of it?
I think weight bonuses are silly. I don't like them. Texas events, TRC events don't run any sort of weight bonus. My opinion on the matter has always been when you're a company that, stands something to gain from people having novel ideas, then persuading them to do that with a weight bonus is reasonable. So something like NHRL, where robots that are little shufflers have more entertainment value and more visibility on their social media, then it makes sense for them to promote them. But your average Joe ordinary event, in a normal fight, there's zero bonus and zero reason that a shuffler is any better at the event than a robot with wheels. So outside of it's a little bit more of an engineering challenge, but with 3D printing and the way that things are these days, it's not even that hard to make a shuffler. I think I had a scalar converted over to functional shufflers in maybe an hour worth of work, probably a lot less. I did a little bit of tuning to make them better, but there's just no benefit as a competitor to having those robots exist. When a lot of them could exist just within the weight bonus with wheels.
Yeah, fair point. And I recall NHRL, they have gone overkill a little bit with their weight bonuses, especially in the past when they used to allow an extra pound for 3-pounders in certain cases. That I think was a bit excessive, and I think they have reduced it. I don't know what their weight bonus rule is nowadays, but
So it's currently allowed that you can be 4 pounds in a 3-pound cage, but you have to have 2 equal weight robots. So you can have 2 2-pound robots. In the past, you could have a 3-pound robot and a 1-pound robot, but I made them change that rule in part by designing the ramp buddies and then showing up with the ramp buddies and just destroying everybody. So, I mean, the multi-bot makes sense for NHRL, like I was saying. When the competition has reasons to promote robots that are unique for like media or other things, then it makes sense to put a bonus in to incentivize those designs to exist. But then again, I'm probably the winningest multi-bot driver at NHRL, period. So I would be the last person to say that you shouldn't have multi-bot driver or multi-bot bonuses because I abuse them all the time and I win with them all the time. So
I mean it's not illegal to do if they specify it's allowed.
Yeah, exactly. We're playing with the rules that they have, and there's not
Yep.
other places where you see viable multi-bots winning a lot. So that's
Yeah.
something that's relatively unique to NHRL and is, I think, really cool.
Yeah.
The design challenge of building, a 2/3 weight robot that can take hits from a full weight robot is kind of crazy. And so
Oh yeah.
it's certainly not easy or an easy win button, but it puts a lot more engineering into things.
Yeah, for sure. NHRL, they allow some stuff that your typical local event wouldn't. I refer to NHRL as the no house rules of robot combat, just because of some of the things that they allow that you wouldn't hear anywhere else. Let's see. Time for me and you, Jonathan, to cook.
There you go.
Oh boy. Yeah, we do cat stuff a lot. Let's see. All right. Well, I think that about does it. I think we've covered everything by now. So again, thank you for making the time to join us on the stream, Peter, and to those of you watching. This has been a blast.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me out.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll answer one last question that was asked earlier in the chat. I did not forget about this one. What is the next stream going to be? A lot of the live streams here on the channel have been pre-event and post-event live streams, but we haven't had an event since April, and we're not going to until next month. In the meantime, the live streams are going to be fun. They're going to be unique. The next stream, I cannot talk about what the next stream is going to be. All I can say is be on the lookout on this channel. We're releasing some really cool content very soon. Like very soon. So to answer your question, Roughhouse Robotics, just stay tuned. Certified Texas Roadhouse Classic. Referring to this live stream. All right. Well, that is going to do it for tonight's stream. It's been a lot of fun. Thanks for joining. And to those of you watching, I will see you next time. I will see you next time, Peter, and everybody watching. Thank you for joining.
Sounds good. Thank you, guys.